All right, well, welcome to Chop It Up for the first day of Black History Month in 2022. My name is Kevin, host of this here podcast and videocast that we do every Tuesday for your entertainment, enjoyment, edification, and always just because we can do this. All right, so today in Black History, I woke up and I went to work. You're welcome. All right, I'll let the fellas introduce themselves and we'll go from there.
Hey, we got a lot to talk about. Tari Watkins, Oklahoma City. Darren.
Oh my goodness. I know people get on here just for the intros like these clowns.
It's like the pre-auditions for American Idol. That's
Oh my goodness. Right. Right.
I only watch it for the auditions.
Is it going to be gold or train wreck? Yeah. This, is it golden or dumpster fire? What's it going to be? Darian Lewis, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And as always, very happy to be here.
All right. So, one quick thing before we jump into the fullness of all of our topics. I don't know if you guys saw, but with, of course, as I mentioned, this being the start of Black History Month, of course, you know, all of the businesses are trotting out their Black History wares and products and what have you. And people, of course, took issue with Bath and Body Works busting out their collection. Basically, they took their same candles and just put some kente cloth on it and said, "Happy Black Anniversary, Happy Black History."
Stop. That did not happen.
Take a look at it. Take a look.
He said kente cloth.
Yeah,
For those of y'all that don't know what that is, just watch Roots.
yeah.
You know what though? Honestly, I don't. Call me whatever you want to call me. You know, I appreciate the effort, and I'll explain why.
I mean,
You
what
know.
was what like what Pelosi did?
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah,
mean-
pretty much.
I mean,
but
here's
here's the thing.
I appreciate the sentiment. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, we'll go with sentiment. The thing that a lot of times, and I don't mean to jump deep this early, but a lot of times we miss the point that progress has to happen some way,
It's got to start somewhere.
True.
and it's not going to look like the finished product of what full inclusion and full acceptance and cultural understanding, and sensitivity is going to look like a generation or two from now. But somebody's got to make the effort to say, "Hey, I'm trying," you know. And so, I appreciate the fumbles because that means that somebody's at least thinking. Because before they weren't, they could
At
care
least they're
less,
trying to move the ball.
right? And they
And-
could care less in times past. Like Black History, what?
Yeah. when I did our inclusive training, I think it was a year and a half ago. I think the thing I said was this: I'm a 100% proponent of the ripple. Excuse me, a 100% believer in the effects of the ripple effect. You got to hit the water at some point,
Yeah.
and then we watch and see what happens afterwards and gain momentum. But you have to throw the rock. You have to at least hit the water, and if you don't, then there's nothing that's going to happen. So no, at least okay. I look at it as at least there's awareness now. It's on people's minds. There's a thought, and we've talked about this before. We may not see that full inclusion even in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the three of us here, we may not see that, but progress has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And guess what? It may be ugly. We may not like you. We may be like, yeah, okay. Thank you all for doing this. So let's do this next time.
Next
Maybe,
time,
yeah. Thank
put
you.
in some black people.
I appreciate it.
Ask them.
Yes. Bring me in. I'll be a volunteer next time. You ain't gotta pay me.
And here's my call it hot take. This is my statement to irritate people. But
Hot take.
Black history is not for me. It's not for me. I know my history, and I know it's much more than Roots and Toby and all of that. So Black history, really, I'm not the target
Selma
audience if I'm honest.
Or Harriet.
For Black history.
Right.
You got to throw
Black-
them in too now.
12
Black
years a
history is
slave.
for the woman in Katy, Texas, who wants to ban Michelle Obama's book because it's considered she considers it anti-white. That's who Black history is for. That's the target audience for Black history. I'm good. I know my history and I understand it 365 days a year, 366 in the leap year. So Black history is not for me. I'm not the target audience. I appreciate it, value it, but at the end of the day, it's not for me. It's not for us.
You actually raising your hand right now?
That's my hot take. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Darian.
It's a hot take too, and I appreciate that because it's the truth. The challenge is even as controversial as what I'm about to say, even for us's, that's a rarity. We're getting there.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But we're discovering along with a whole lot of other folks, and that's very unfortunate. That we just because the truth of the matter is we couldn't fit Black history in a month.
Right.
No.
We literally, and I don't mean this braggadociously or facetiously. We literally built this country.
Point of issue, point of concern. Civilization. If you want to talk about Pythagorean theorem, where did that come from? It may have gotten the credit, but they studied in Egypt.
Right.
They studied in Africa.
Right.
And so therefore, we still can't figure out how pyramids have been built.
Nope.
So.
Oh, no. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know the aliens did it. I got you.
He knew exactly where I was going.
I know the aliens did it.
I tried to be serious. He got me.
Right, but you're absolutely.
And there's a Stargate in the Antarctic Circle. Yep.
Oh no, that's too far. I ain't going that far.
Hey.
So, no, the reason why I was raising my hand is because I was trying to figure out what in Michelle Obama's book
was anti-white. The cover.
Okay. What I thought.
Honestly, I don't know. I really have no idea.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like, so because it's a Black woman on the cover, you got an issue? Because I've spoken to so many white people or people other than African American who've read the book and they love it. They thought it was absolutely inspirational.
Absolutely loved it. Yeah,
that's what I'm like. Huh? Yeah. I'm confused, but then again, at the same time. No, I'm not.
Right.
So one of the first things we'll kind of cover today, we're probably bounce around a few things, but one of the first things we were kind of in our chat talking about, I kind of give an idea for topics for today, and Darian, you were like, what about this? And so immediately I was like, wait, what?
Right.
So news came out today, and evidently a few have experienced it in a few days earlier, so it's not something completely that has just happened today. But today there seemed to be a few more than what they had experienced before, which was bomb threats and basically threatened terrorism, if you will, on historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, from Tougaloo University in Tougaloo, Mississippi, to Spelman, to I think Jackson State, Kentucky State. So it was not just in, let's say, Atlanta where you have the AUC.
Right.
It was spread across a few different campuses. I think even Howard had it. And so we're in a situation. It's the more things change, the more they stay the same. So we have this cycle again, and HBCUs. I think for some people, I think that they just realized, oh, there are HBCUs, because there has been this kind of shock and surprise when the young man went from being a top recruit and said, I'm going to go to an HBCU.
An HBCU, right.
So I think that there's this shock and awe of, does this really exist? And now because of that, it has opened the door for others to say, okay, well, we're going to target that, if you will.
Okay. I question your statement of, oh, we realize that this exists. I mean, I mean, and I get what I'm going to say, and I can understand what your reaction may be. I mean, if they're literally living under a rock, then yes. I mean, with the fact of just entertainment wise, even if they don't watch the films, even if they don't watch the shows or whatever, I mean, there's been stuff we know that HBCUs are out there. I mean, what? Oh, okay,
And I
I'm just,
say
I'm
that
just,
I say
I've
that from
talked,
my personal
to
experience.
people that don't look like me, and they know that they're out there.
I get that, but my personal experience when I went to my predominantly white, predominantly Jewish high school in Chicago, in a very affluent area of Chicago, where tuition at this school, thank God I had scholarships and was smart enough to at least gain something. Where tuition is more than some in-state universities for kindergarten. For this school, when I said I was going to an HBCU, when I said I was going to go to Morehouse, what's that?
Okay,
I've never heard of that.
again,
And
I get that. That was what 30 years ago. I mean,
what you
I,
trying
I'm
to
not.
say?
Was it not? Oh, well,
It
20
was.
years ago. Kev,
It was.
I don't know
It
how
was
old
30
you
years
20
are.
ago.
years.
Okay,
30
then,
years.
man,
Calm down.
stop tripping, bruh. No, but I mean, I can understand. 30 years ago, yes, I can get that, but more people know now. I'm just saying, more people know now than what they did back then.
Okay.
I'm not going to be naive enough to think that all these people just had this epiphany to realize there's HBCUs out there when they've been plastered everywhere.
But you said
But I'm not saying
from how? I mean, how? There, if you get, and I hear what you're saying, but if you get, even if you get the list, I'll say just for me, as much as I've known about HBCUs,
I
I
don't know
still don't
all of them.
know.
I don't know
Right.
all of them. No.
There are schools on that list that I was like, what?
Yeah,
Who?
yeah, I'll
What?
admit that. There's schools in there that I don't know.
But
Yeah.
my point is, people didn't know there was a Juneteenth until Trump messed up.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. Yeah.
They didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So the idea that people,
Or the Tulsa massacre. A lot of people didn't know about that either.
didn't know about that,
Or the one in Wilmington. Yeah.
well, I was just going to say, some people may be familiar with their area school as it's
Right.
just a university
Okay.
and don't realize that it's an HBCU because I've heard many times, what's an HBCU? What does that
Okay.
even stand for?
Right.
And
I can give you that.
yeah, so I hear what you're saying, but they just think that it's a sucky football team or it's a sucky basketball team.
Right.
Right.
No, seriously,
or
No,
because
I
we
get
have
that.
because most of our teams are majority of color.
Right.
No one in the sports world, if they don't pay attention to the school, they don't know a difference.
They have no idea. Yeah.
Right.
They don't know if Alcorn who is Alcorn State playing Michigan. Well,
Right.
it's just a really small bad school
Right.
playing a really big good school.
Right.
They don't know that there's an actual difference, in
Yeah.
that.
Who's St. Augustine? What's that? And where is that? We don't know what that is. Shaw University? What is that? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, people don't know. I get it.
Yeah, they don't go beyond that. So the idea that these bomb threats were sent in mass to me just speaks volumes to the even if there was nothing behind it, you have to take that seriously. You
do
can't
have to.
play with
Yeah.
that.
No, you can't play with that at all.
You can't play with that, and they know that.
I just don't know if the premise for these is because they just had a realization that they're out there. I can't chalk it up to just that. I
I'm
can't
looking at
chalk.
the timing though. Look at the timing though. You know what I'm saying? Look at the timing. We've not had anything this widespread.
But we've also never had a person that was running the country that has been that outspoken and riled up a people to feel like that they can finally speak again the way their grandparents did or the way their parents did because they've been stifled for too long.
Or the way they do in private.
Exactly. So I think there's a whole lot more to it than just that. I mean, people feel like they have their voice again because they say it was stifled for so long, like you said, from being able to say things out in public.
And possibly feel like it's being stifled again.
Exactly.
Like they're
like their freedoms are being violated.
Right.
Like the woman that held up a sign that says, "Now I know what it feels like to be a slave." Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just run with that. All right, fine. If that's the way you feel, great.
that stuff makes me have to take off my glasses.
Oh, that's here in your great state, brother.
Ah,
It's here in your great state.
gosh, that doesn't surprise me, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't.
So the good thing is that, as I think Darian, you mentioned, nothing. There was nothing actionable or nothing as far as that took place out of it. But it was a significant or a unique, if you will, start to Black History Month. I can, just being on a college campus, the thought that your school could be
Man,
the target of that, right?
listen, the more we get um our kids get technologically savvy,
Yeah.
the easier it's going to be to create um terrorists,
Hmm.
cyber terrorists,
Yeah.
who can do major damage, man. Can you imagine if someone was able to go in and just literally just wipe out the records of every student for the last 10 years?
Devastating.
The chaos that that would create,
I'm just
just
saying,
that alone.
don't do that. Nelnet is a target. I'm just saying, Nelnet. I I'd be
Do
like,
that, huh?
oh no, why did you do that?
Oh, I need them to hit
Poor
Mohila then. That's what I need them to hit.
poor Nelnet.
I need them to hit Mohila. Hit Mohila. Wipe every single record from Mohila. Do me a
Listen,
favor. Do me a favor
Y'all
right
want
now.
those? Y'all want those cyber Robin Hoods?
Yes,
listen,
exactly. You ain't
listen.
lying, bro.
We're
Hey,
the cyber Robin Hoods. You don't
where,
have to be a
Ja-
cyber
where
terrorist.
Jamie
Right.
Foxx at? And we need to change the barometer, bro. Come on, man.
Listen,
Oh, that is
Here I
hilarious.
come to save the day. Yeah.
is it if student loans in a way? Listen, my life, even though they're not in repayment right now, my life would just be like,
Who you telling, bro? I very well may do a cartwheel. I may blow up both my elbows, but I'm gonna do a cartwheel, bro. I might have to
bruh,
go to the hospital, but that's all right.
listen.
I'm just, hey, man.
Got you in two slings.
And it'd be worth it too.
But my loans paid for, though. They paid for, man. I'm good. I'm rocking it. I'm all right. Be like this for months.
Months just in traction. Just in traction.
Happy as a clam.
Okay.
I ain't got no loan payments. I know that.
Hey,
That's all I got.
That's right.
I know I ain't got no loan payments.
I know I ain't got a loan payment, but that's all right.
I know that.
Hey.
Laugh at me if you want to.
That's right. My computer's voice activated. Alexa. Shoot, think I'm playing.
Oh my goodness. Help
so
us, Lord.
so we had that happen today.
Right.
The other thing that broke, literally, I mean, I was finishing up, the work that I went Black History Month because my life is Black History. Um, as I was leaving work, I saw that Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, is suing not the Miami Dolphins.
Nope.
He's suing the whole NFL. And he's not just doing it on behalf of himself. It's a class action lawsuit. Among the things that he alleges that Miami's owners basically were offering incentives, financial incentives for him to
Yeah.
tank the
To
season
lose games.
in order to be better fitted for draft picks. He's also alleging that basically they wanted him to meet with a prominent quarterback to try lure him
Mm-hmm.
over to the Dolphins, which would have amounted to tampering with
Yep.
which how they were proposing it be done. He's alleging
$100,000 what they were offering. Is that right?
per game.
100 grand.
That's what he says they were offering.
Yep.
He's also alleging that the interviews that he had were simply to satisfy the Rooney Rule, which is simply a rule that basically obligates teams to interview at least, I think, two people of color that are not part of their organization whenever there's a head coach position open. So he's alleging that basically his were just a save face, do that type of interview, but he was never really an actual consideration. He's also alleging that when he went to meet with Denver, that John Elway was drunk and hungover for their meeting, which that kind of doesn't surprise me. I'm not shocked by that one. That one, of all the ones, I could see some truth in that. But that's kind of where Brian Flores has put things out, and he's basically like, look, my career might not be, I might not have a career after this, but it's worth fighting for.
It's
Fellas.
always go ahead, Darian.
No, I would. I'm,
Oh no, it's always worth fighting for. And so I mean, more power to him. If these things are true, fight for it. You know, we've sacrificed a lot, and if that's what he chooses to do, then guess what? I'm a 100% proponent of that. Now,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will say this. I remember when the Rooney Rule was first adopted, and the very first thing that I said, and my dad and I were talking, that's just not going to help. Just going to interview people just to be interviewing them. Yep. That's been going on for what year was the Rooney Rule? Because it's going on for decades. It's been, that rule's been around for a while. You're looking it up,
yeah.
And so that I mean, I'm like, okay, great. Now they just have to. That doesn't mean that they're going to hire them. I mean, they're just going to put them in place as a token. I mean, is it a move in the right direction? Really?
Yeah, it was done in 2003.
Oh, so I was close. Yeah, 2 decades almost. Yeah, so yeah.
And here's the thing. Okay, so here's just the initial thing of how history is repeating itself. It was created as a reaction to the 2002 firings of Tony Dungy of the Tampa Bay Bucks and Dennis Green of the Minnesota Vikings at a time when Dungy had a winning record.
Yes, I remember that.
Green had just had his first losing season in 10
Yep.
years.
Yep. Sounds like Brian Flores.
Yep.
So we talked about it at the beginning. Yeah, progress it takes time. Now the Rooney Rule, maybe I wasn't a minority, but I wasn't a huge proponent of it. I understood what the thought process was behind it. Right. But when talking about dad, I mean, it wasn't like you're going to magically find this candidate and like, oh wow, we didn't know about you. You were such a great interview. No, I mean they know these things. Now that may happen to regular people in everyday jobs, and like when I became a trainer, they're like, wow, we didn't know you had that in you, right. Because they just never saw it. But that in the NFL, that's not going to happen. That nobody's just going to come out of nowhere and interview for a job and they're going to blow them away. The second thing, do we know that was Bill Belichick? That's my question from the text messages. Because the only thing it said was BB. Not saying that Flores is lying. I just don't know if that was Bill Belichick or not. That's
the text messages came to who? Because that's what I didn't
Brian
see.
Flores.
To Brian Flores.
Well, he wouldn't know
Bill
where they
Belichick.
came from.
Right, but there's screenshots of it of the phone of the actual text messages, and it just says BB.
Now, that's what I'm saying. Unless Flores is doing something really stupid like lying.
No, and again, I'm not saying that he is. I'm being devil's advocate here. I'm not saying that Brian Flores is being disingenuous. I'm not saying that he's doctoring this information. But I can see how people say, "Well, is that really Bill Belichick? Or was that just some friend that he had texting him?"
So you're saying Bill Belichick doesn't know how to text? Is that what you're saying? Saying I'm not saying that. How to text?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. No, but I just here's part of it. A big part of me wants it to be real, but there's another part of me is like, God dang it, seriously. We got to keep dealing with this crap.
So here's my question: what is this lawsuit really going to do other than just bring awareness and embarrassment? What can he possibly really sue for? Because so far it just sounds to me like bad business.
Right. So
are there any ramifications from not following the Romney Rule? That's the real question. If they've been caught and they've been found not found guilty, but there's evidence that shows that an organization did not follow the Romney Rule, what are the ramifications for that organization?
It would have to be within the policies of the NFL.
Right. I'm not saying anything legally. I just don't know what the ramifications are that if you get caught and you didn't follow, are you losing draft picks? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's the backlash for a team not following that? Does anybody know?
Let me see, because I'm looking up a couple of things. I'm looking up that, and I'm looking up what, because the things that he's suing for, it's a class action lawsuit, so he's suing for damages for himself, but also, I think he wants more minority representation in the hiring process, and I think there was something I saw as far as coordinators wanting greater, basically impact of people of color in the coordinator role and things of that nature. So, as far as that, well, go ahead, guys. I'll find out what the ramifications are for the Rooney Rule.
Because yeah, I would definitely love to know that. I don't know how, and again, how are you going to prove that? You know what I'm saying? The sounds to me like this is going to have to be testimony heavy, unless you've got text messages, emails, short of that, man, this is going to be very difficult to do. Like you've got to be able to prove damages, and that's the only thing. To me, the court of public opinion is going to be out, and it's going to be shame on you guys, shame, 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 and that's going to be the end of it because that is always the end of it with the NFL.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're privately owned organization. We can do whatever we want to do. If a GM or an executive shows up drunk to an interview, guess what?
They showed up drunk to an interview.
They showed up drunk to an interview. They're just a bad exec.
Exactly. It's a bad look.
Yeah, and they have no respect for you. So I mean, you can embarrass them that way, but other than that, I just don't. I don't. Not that I don't. I don't want this to succeed, but it's like, okay, so if you win, what did you win?
What happens? Right. What comes of it?
Is there some type of more respect that happens in the higher levels and decision making processes for diversity? Is that what we're gonna get out of that?
Right.
No,
Right.
and we're not because as private owners, you can do what you want to do, and that
Right.
goes for any business.
Right. And as long as they're the one, as long as those organizations are still doing the interviewing, and as long as they're the ones picking, they're just going to be tighter on their interview process. They're just going to make sure they're more buttoned up.
You can't, right? You
Seal your
can't.
lips. You can't police that. You can't manage it. You can't force that because they're going to figure out ways to say, "Hey, we did this, 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 and this, so we're not in the wrong." Unless a mindset changes, unless a thought process changes, unless people are in our organization that decides, "Hey, this is what we're going to do," which we know that that's not happening anytime soon, then there's not going to be any change.
Now, with that said, did because we haven't brought this up, I may be changing the subject.
Mm.
Let me wait.
We
Well, let
do
me
that
just
all
say
the
this.
time.
It looks like it's a fine because right now, for example, in 2003, the Lions were fined $200,000 because they didn't interview any candidates. So it looks like it's a fine,
It's a $20 ticket for us.
pretty much.
I mean, in all seriousness, honestly, it may be a $2 ticket for us. $200,000 for $1 billion organization. Okay, great.
They get that from one section
Dude,
in
that's a
refreshments.
ticket.
They
That's
get that
a
from
ticket in a mid level.
30 minutes of concessions.
Right,
Seriously?
30 minutes. You give him that? 200?
200,000.
Oh, 200.
Yeah,
200,000? Yeah, I don't know
yeah,
where I got stuck with 200. My bad.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know
I
what
know, right? Like I'm
what ticket
here.
you getting for 200,000.
I'm here.
I
Trust
know,
me. I'm
right?
here. Uh,
Like,
yeah, I
what kind
got
of hot
stuck at
dogs you
200.
buying?
All I heard was 200. 200.
No, 200,000. So, and it's
200,000,
probably
yes.
gone up since then, but still we're not talking because it doesn't look like teams are breaking it at will. It is something that, and kind of what Brian Flores is saying. Just call one of us, call two of them in. Hey, how you doing? We're not interested, and now you fulfilled the requirement, right?
Right.
Exactly. That's what I said years ago. Yeah.
So,
Because you've checked a box at that point. You're
yeah.
going through the motions. because you can't tell me that Eric Bieniemy is not qualified to be a head coach.
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, you can't tell me that he's not qualified.
Listen, after
I
the
mean,
game,
look at what the man
af-
has done.
yeah, just after the game against the Bills, as the offensive coordinator, he should have gotten several calls.
He should have gotten
Grant.
several calls last year.
Oh yeah, always.
So yeah,
So
I don't know.
So, oh, never mind.
That's twice you've done that.
right.
No. So what it brought up to me was when we talked about a shift in culture. There was talk that Robert F. Smith may be doing a bid for the Broncos. He withdrew that, so that's why I was like, oh. So yeah, that would have had deep ramifications had he been the principal owner of a franchise.
Yeah, but that still has to be voted in by the owners, and we already know what that's going to be like.
Jerry Jones ain't going for that. So
We already know that they vote on who gets into their club.
right. The other thing, did you guys know that technically the NFL is not a sport? Legally, they are classified as sports entertainment. So they're in the same category as the WWE
WWE.
and roller derby.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who sued them. Somebody sued them. And they were like, no, we're sports entertainment, which means, because now, I forget who was it.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
Donald Trump that tried to sue the NFL?
Well, yeah, but
And he got like a check for $1 or something like that. Is that what that
well,
was?
he basically
I'm being serious, Darian.
he pushed the USFL to do it. So the USFL,
Oh, the
which
USFL. Yeah.
there is a new USFL coming out in a couple of months.
Soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
April, I think.
Like real soon. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I thought it was March.
It's real
It
soon.
may be, yeah. It's like
Yeah. It ain't far
It's
from
like
now.
right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the USFL is back with 8 teams. I
Isn't Bob Stoops coaching one of them? The one down in Dallas?
don't think anymore.
Oh, he's not?
Oh, that was XFL.
Oh, that's right. That was XFL. That's right.
Yeah, that was XFL, which
That's
they're
right.
not. They're still not fielding anyone yet.
Good. I'm not watching that mess.
What?
I'm not watching
Man,
USFL
listen.
either.
If they pull off the coup of the century by combining with Canadian League, it's a wrap.
Oh, that's different. Because Canadian football is legit, bro. The CFL, they're legit.
That's my point. If you
They're
bring
legit.
the XFL into the CFL,
See, I didn't.
or
I
you
didn't
combine those,
I didn't realize that was an option.
they were in talks for a
Okay.
minute. I don't know where that's gone. I don't know if it stalemated or it fell off, but they were in talks with that last year. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude,
that'd be
make that
legit.
happen.
Argonauts.
Because the CFL already has a growing fan base in the
Yes.
United States.
Right.
They do.
That would yes.
That would work. That would stick.
That absolutely would.
Yeah, that would
Absolutely
stick.
would. So I hope they figure out how to make that work. But typically, we go in guns blazing. We're taking over.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's the American mindset.
the
We're taking
American
over. Yeah,
mentality.
you guys. Yeah, we're coming to save you. No, we're doing pretty good without you.
No,
Right.
we'll be all right. Turn back around. We good.
Yes, you're the one that can't put anybody on a field. Yeah,
Right.
We've been doing this for a good minute.
Do you remember the World Football League back in the day? I was in college, man. With that,
I thought that still existed.
is that still? They still what?
I
Really? Because I know Raleigh Durham had a team. They were called the Flights or something like that. Aviation. That was after the Wright brothers. It was something like that. It was something terrible. But there were teams all over. Yeah, I don't even remember how long that
No,
lasted.
the-
I didn't think they were still going.
Oh, let me see. Hold on.
They started in the 70s.
Then there's
I
another
thought
one that came out in the 2008. So, but it
There was
looks
one that
like-
was also in like end of '88. I mean, excuse me, end of the '80s, beginning of the '90s. Because I remember when they launched the team in Raleigh, it was like this big push. All these new teams were added.
The reason why that sounds familiar is because I remember the Oklahoma Thunder football team won the world football championships for like I can't remember how many years in a row.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
So I want to make sure it's the World League.
There
That
is the
sounds
so there's the World League of American Football. I think that yeah. So the WLAF is the one I think you're referring to.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
because when I looked up Raleigh, there was a team called the Skyhawks, which existed, and they were basically part of the World League of American Football.
What years was that?
91.
Yeah, that's around that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, no, I actually it is the World Football League. They Oklahoma Thunder played in the World Football League from 2008 to 2010, and they went to the Gridiron Development Football League from 11 to now.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that existed.
So
Yeah,
there's
well,
a
a guy I went to high school with is the coach, and dude, they basically pull everybody that has a problem from OSU or OU comes and plays for them.
and then yeah, the arena football, which was a blast.
Oh,
That was actually fun.
I love arena football.
Has it stopped? Has arena football stopped?
I haven't heard about it for
I
years.
think it's kind of gone down and has last I saw it was like a lot of the teams no longer existed and they had kind
Right.
of shrunk down their league.
Okay.
Um,
I thought they still existed.
Nope, they stopped in 2019.
Oh wow, so that was not long ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely dumb.
It was exciting to watch though. I
It
mean,
was. I
The,
loved it,
the games were a
Stupid
blast to go
exciting.
to. Yeah.
yes.
man. Yeah, loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Cheap ticket.
Yeah,
For great,
and they had a
great
long
entertainment.
run too. And guess what? And it was actually televised.
Right.
You can actually watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great game to watch, and
Because it was the pace of it was even
Oh, it was
there.
quick, man. It was
yeah.
quick. And then the big net at the end. I mean, dude, it was it
Dude,
was
High
amazing.
school,
plus-
it was everything
Yeah.
you wanted.
plus the body checks.
Dude, it was like hockey and
was-
football wrapped into one package,
Yes,
man.
Yes, it was. I mean, when you can basically reach out and you pat your player on the head, right?
Right. Or you get sprayed with sweat after somebody got blasted. on the
Man,
side.
listen,
Bro,
They
it
need
was
to bring
vicious.
that back. I don't
It
know
was
what they were
vicious.
thinking.
Oof.
Didn't that produce Kurt Warner?
Arena football?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't he come from Arena?
Was
We-
it Arena? Or was it CFL?
No, I think you came from the.
I think it was Arena.
I thought he
I
came from the
think.
Arena Bowl. Yeah,
Didn't his movie come out soon?
it's out.
Or was it out
American
already?
Underdog. Yeah.
I can't remember. Speaking of football,
Yes, it was the Barnstormers of Iowa.
so here's the real question. Y'all ready for this halftime show?
Listen, I told you. The only thing that's gonna make this even more off the chain is if Tupac pops up and it's like, yeah, y'all, I've been in Barbados for the last 25, 30 years.
The Earth,
I'm ready
the
to come
Earth will
back out
tilt
now.
off its axis, bro.
That's
Seriously,
the only thing that would top just the lineup that we have right now.
dude.
I think I think the internet literally would break. I think the screen would go black. It just go snow.
Everything would just shut down. We all be in black. Power grids would fail.
Yeah, man. Was that Tupac? Yeah, man. It was. No.
Could you
But
imagine?
just the commercial alone, the little mini movie
Oh,
that
yeah.
they
It
did.
was amazing, bro.
They
It was
killed
absolutely
it.
amazing.
They killed it.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, ah!
You know what's funny? I was just thinking this though. How when they first came out, they were the devil, and now we got pastors and saints that can't wait.
Hey, we ain't always been saved, bro.
Listen,
we ain't always been saved. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna just say some of these kids about to find out who their parents really are.
Oh, I've seen so many memes about that, man. Yes. Mama? Shh, baby, shut up and sit down. Eat your Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Listen, this halftime show The only other one that I've look forward to like this was, of course, Prince,
Yes.
Michael Jackson, those
Yes.
legendary acts. Sorry,
Yes.
I really wasn't looking forward to Katy Perry and Lenny Kravitz, although I rock with Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah. I was looking forward to Bruno Mars though, because Bruno Mars puts on a great halftime show. I look forward to him.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I wasn't looking forward to The Weeknd.
Oh, I didn't watch that mess, bro. I turned it.
I did. I just wanted to see is what do you really what seriously,
Right.
I went to the bathroom. That's what I thought about that.
But
bro?
yeah,
It was
Bruno
so
Mars was good. I'm trying to
Bruno
think
Mars
what
is
else.
great. Yeah, I
Oh,
love Bruno Mars.
yeah. He kills, man. His shows
Dude,
are
his band, dude. I mean, they're legit, bro. I mean, he's
just the shows are
Yeah.
just.
Did
He's
you
legit.
guys get a chance to check out what I put in the chat as far as Toby Ingwe?
Toba who?
Did not.
So
Not yet.
okay, so the guy from Houston who does "Try Jesus, Don't Try Me."
Oh, I checked out the first two songs. I checked out the first two, but that's
The
it.
energy for that show, because the album that I sent you
I want to
guys,
see a live. Is there a live recording of that?
not yet. He's supposed to be releasing some of it, but
I would
just
watch that. Yeah.
the way he does his visuals, the way he does his videos, the way he does just the energy for his songs. I'm like, I told Tarsha, I was like, if he comes anywhere near Phoenix, I gotta go.
His story though. His story is absolutely crazy. Like he wasn't even thinking about hip hop.
Really?
Yeah,
See, I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with the story.
He and I'm not fully. I'm not. I don't have all the details because I don't remember when he hooked up with Eric Thomas. But he wasn't doing hip hop until he hooked up with Eric Thomas, and they basically told him, "Hey man, you ought to consider
Hmm.
rapping."
Really?
I don't know what he said. I don't know what he did, but yeah, the Eric Thomas and his whole crew, they just got around the kid and just was like, "Man, you ought to consider rapping." So he was like, "Okay."
Okay.
and he
Wow.
was he was in the
That's
church.
crazy.
If I understand, that's where he met his wife, who
Mhm.
he at first was like, "I ain't checking for you." There's a video that they do where she's like, she was feeling him, but he was like, "I ain't feeling you."
Right.
But also talks about how folks have been saying, you should just go solo, you should just do your thing. And he's like, I got my girl with me, and because that's who I am, and that's what I want to have around me.
Right.
The fact that you can't do that says a lot more about you than it does about me.
He's not wrong.
So yeah, I absolutely love the energy. I love everything that that I've seen from them so far, and it's just So check it out.
I definitely will.
Yeah,
If he's in concert, I'm going.
I've seen like impromptu little videos from celebrities who have been at his shows,
Right.
and they turn into straight kitty fans.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You gotta love that though, man. Seriously, you gotta love that.
yeah, it's like this dude. Okay, I really got to pay attention to him because whatever he brings to the game,
Right.
number one, is extremely unique. That makes because it's made everyone pause. Like
Right.
everyone's to the point where you're like, I didn't know someone could break in like this.
Mhm.
Right.
That's the type of conversations people have when it comes to his music. It's like, dude, where did you come from? Where did you get this from? Where did this, how did you develop this? And
Right.
yeah. And he's
Yeah. Because I mean, Tori, like those first two tracks on that live album, it's like I'm driving in the car, and like it's one of those you got to turn it all the way up.
Got to,
You got to
man.
turn it all the way up.
If your rear view mirror is not
shaking a bit.
bouncing and doing this, then you ain't playing it right. I'm just saying.
He does later in that album, he does a redo of the Wine and Millions Didn't Make It. Yeah. This
Really?
kid, yes.
that explains why that song has resurfaced.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing churches do it now, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, where did y'all dig this up from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
Especially when the praise and worship leader is still in his 20s.
right.
I'm like, dude,
Exactly. How did you know about this song? Right.
So I mean, the album is like
Winans kids are too old for you to know.
Yes.
right. Wine and Phase 2, no.
Winans Phase 2 has kids your age, dude.
Right.
So where did you even come up with millions?
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But I mean, the entire album is like 2.5 hours long, I think.
I'm okay with
But
that.
it basically he took his entire concert. He brings out some folks from Houston, some legends from Houston as far as in the hip hop game. Brings out folks, does a lot of talking to also, so that's where you kind of hear his heart. And okay, you remember how MC Hammer basically went bankrupt because he had like all of Oakland on stage.
Yeah.
This guy, it's like he's got all of Houston on stage performing. He's got just the singers that you're hearing on the album. You're like, where are these folks at? And can listen, if they not say, can we get them to a praise and worship conference and get them saved? Because listen,
Right.
yeah,
He said,
y'all know how
try Jesus.
y'all know how I love music. So if I'm pushing this and like y'all need to check this out,
Oh yeah.
y'all know.
I
Okay.
already know.
Y'all
I
know.
already
All
know,
right.
bro.
All right. I'm on it.
We trust you, man. We trust
Okay.
you.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
We've known you for long enough. You haven't steered us wrong yet.
You know what? His actual crew though is actually pretty small.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty small. So I listened to Eric Thomas's podcast. I used to pretty regularly, and they would bring up Toby quite often. You know, just trying to get people to really understand what it takes. That what's in you if you get around the right environment and the right people
Right.
who see the value in you and know how to push you toward that excellence. There's the sky's the limit. And when they, like I said, when they met him, he was not thinking, dude. He wasn't even thinking about music.
Yeah.
But I
That's
guess,
crazy.
yeah, man. But when you have very successful people turn around and look at you and say, hey, you ought to look into this,
Right.
and you're like, okay, well, I'll do that. I'll look into it. And the response had to have been overwhelming.
And I forgot what's his name, Emmanuel Acho, who is
Yeah, I love Emmanuel Acho, man.
so. I'm gonna not tell the story or tell it probably and give it the justice that it deserves. But I remember just a snippet of him talking about how him and Toe kind of looked at each. They had conversations before they kind of blew up, and they both had conversations about, listen, I'm encourage you, you encourage me, and they kind of helped, if nothing else, kind of push each other to
That's
excel
awesome.
in what they're doing.
That's awesome.
In different spaces because they're both Nigerian. They both have some some commonalities, and so
Right.
Emmanuel Acha, who he played football, but his greatest contribution to society and to culture right now is outside of football, but having
Yes,
those
it is.
conversations and the,
Yeah.
the conversations that he has in his
His YouTube channel conversations, dude. It's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We all have something to bring to the table.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm convinced that the attack on self-esteem is at an all-time high,
Yes, it is.
and it convinces people that and I'm guilty. It convinces people, you either don't have what it takes to bless the world, or you
Or
disqualified
nobody cares.
yourself. Right, you disqualified yourself in some way, and the truth of the matter is, no, everybody has something to give.
Right.
You just got to get busy giving it.
That's right.
My mantra, or not mantra, but my thought for this year, quite simply, is you can't be a voice that gets exposed if you're not talking.
Hey,
We keep hearing this is the year of new voices being exposed, but they can't hear you if you ain't talking.
that's right.
So-
You miss 100% of the shots you don't make. I mean, you
Yes.
don't take. Exactly. I mean,
Or that Russell Westbrook shoots. So,
Brick City. This cat, dude. I've been a Russell Westbrook fan from the beginning, but this dude now, man, I'm like, bro, I can't support you no more.
yeah.
I'm looking like a fool. I can't do this, man. I don't know what you're doing. I can't do it.
That's messed up.
I can't.
Yeah,
I mean, I still like him. Don't get me wrong,
Oh, yeah.
but I was the one that defended. I can't defend him anymore. I can't defend what's happening. What's happening right now? There's no defense for. I can't defend that.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of sore, if you can't tell.
Why?
Because I like Russell Westbrook. It has nothing to do with LeBron and the Lakers. I just like Russell Westbrook.
No.
Okay.
Well, why do I like him?
No. I like Russ too.
I do.
But
Yeah.
Russ is he. I'm trying to think of what that machine is. The heart machine, man. He just reminds me. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
The cardiac thing, the EKG.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
that's him. Boop, boop.
Yes.
He is when he is hot.
He's hot.
He is blazing, and you can't stop him.
No, you
Yeah.
But
can't.
when he is not,
Yeah.
nothing on this planet can make him good. Like, dude, you need to go back to high school.
I mean, there's a couple of highlights when they start playing his highlights on Undisputed, and they're playing the circus clown music. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's exactly what they were playing. I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, just what it's come to. Because I mean, they're showing. Here's the thing: he rolls back, dude. It hits the top of the backboard. It's not even close. Why are you posing? I'm like, oh. See, it's bad. It's ugly.
So
I don't know what's going on.
Does GM LeBron trade Russell Westbrook?
There's been rumors of it, but I mean, come on, man.
Dude,
It's more than just Westbrook, bro.
He is the Jerry Jones of basketball. I don't like you no more. I loved you 2 seconds ago, but I don't like you right now.
So
Bye.
here's the thing. I was thinking about it last week and week before last. Even GMs, owners, whoever, owners of companies, you know, you can have success, but you're not going to be able to hit it all the time. If we're going to give LeBron credit for what he did with the Lakers team, then we have to give him credit for what he did in Cleveland, bringing them together. You have to give him credit for what he did in Miami. So it's not like he doesn't have a track record that's been proven of bringing people together. It's just that this one was a bust. This one was bad.
No, this is on brand. This is on brand. Remember, he's the llama. He loves losing alongside multiple All-Stars.
See, when you're not in
This is
reality,
on brand.
Kev, that's what's frustrating. Come on, man. Don't hate just to be hating.
Okay. So
Come on.
So
No,
Come on, man.
Here's the thing. He again assembled a team that on paper should be dominating. We said, and Darian, I think you agreed with this at the when all
Did he not win championships in Miami when he brought a team together? Yes or
he
no?
didn't bring a team together.
And
He didn't
also-
wait.
That's
He
true.
didn't bring Miami together.
Who did?
Pat Riley. That was Pat
Was
Riley.
not Dwayne already there? Wait, was not Dwayne already there?
Dwayne was already there. Bosh
not-
wasn't there. Ray Allen wasn't there, and neither was LeBron. You can't. You see, really, people have been giving him credit for that before. Now he's not getting credit for that.
No.
I was.
Okay.
I don't, because I think Pat Riley has been considered the architect of that.
He's
Because,
absolutely
again,
the architect of that.
Because again, at that time, if you look at when it occurred,
Mm-hmm.
LeBron did not have. LeBron was a wanted chess piece.
Yes, I give
But
you that.
LeBron was not basically in the decision-making process, especially for Miami, which basically had to move things around to bring him in. Right.
Okay.
So now, was he responsible as far as the friendship of, hey, if you can make a way for this to happen? I can give you that he may have been in talking with Dwayne, because the other thing that was supposed to take place, or that was thought to take place, was that they were going to actually meet up in Chicago, that Dwayne was going to go back home to Chicago and LeBron and Bosh were going to meet him there. But Pat Riley was like, nope, we're going to make that happen here. So they all, because they came out within the same draft class or similar draft class, parallel
close.
draft class, whatever, they're close enough that they always wanted to play together, right? That's why Carmelo is now was over with LA.
Right.
But when he got to Cleveland, that's where we started to see LeBron playing GM. Right.
So here's my question then, and it's a legitimate question. Then why? And I'm not talking people in the minority. why do so many people, and I know it's probably because it's LeBron hate, then why do so many people blame LeBron because of the whole big three thing that started in Miami and said LeBron's the reason that we have these issues with the big three because he started it? I know that that's not true. I know that that's false, but that has been the narrative for so long. I agree with everything that you just said with Pat Riley bringing it together.
Mhm.
Yes, was LeBron an influence? Oh, I'm sure he was an influence. But that has not been the narrative. The narrative has been that they're blaming him because he was we know he wasn't the first to do a big three, but he was the first for people to hate a big three.
I think that has more to do with how he did it than what happened.
You mean
I
because
think
of the decision?
I think that put
Oh no,
because
I don't
there was
disagree with that. People
whole
are pissed
thing.
at that.
Yeah, I think it put a bad taste in people's mouth.
But that's
because
not the
it was-
narrative, though. The narrative is that when people talk and they get pissed or whatever, that's the general consensus. That's the narrative that it's his fault and it started with Miami. We know, we've all heard it. We've heard people blame him for it.
I think there's a few levels in there. I think that one, yes, it was the delivery of how it happened, but I think also, and this has been my sticking point with the llama, has been that you have a player who really had the potential and was on the trek really to be considered a GOAT, right? But then to see him basically look for situations, look for situations where he has to have other losing all-stars next to him. That I think is what has shifted that conversation. Yes, I know how
It's his adjectives, man.
He said he didn't say all stars. He said
Losing all-stars.
So I think that it's the problem with the big three is that you have a player that by basically the idea or the thought is that he shouldn't have needed to get other superstars to help him win his championship, that he should be one who can help raise up and help develop a team alongside him in the likes of Jordan, and do that so that he can win championships.
So
I hear that.
When I give Phil Jackson any credit, okay, I got it.
We're giving
That
him
makes
credit
sense.
as a coach.
No, that makes
Absolutely.
sense. No,
I give-
I get it. Phil
But
Jackson
wait a
gets
minute.
no
Wait,
credit whatsoever.
Steve Kerr's jaw would like to disagree with you. Steve Kerr's jaw basically is saying, I got better because I got punched in it.
Wait. Hold on. Because we talked about Pat Riley being
Right.
the reason for the big three in Miami. But then
Right.
you go back to say, okay, so we're not going to give Phil Jackson his due when it comes to Jordan.
No, I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, okay,
No,
we can't have it both ways.
I was being sarcastic. That was directed at Kev.
Yeah.
Because Jordan.
I
punched
give
her
them
in the
credit.
face. Yeah.
I give Phil Jackson credit as a coach, but I also give credit to the fact that, and I made this comment many times before, that Jordan elevated the players around him. Every player came up a level.
I don't
when they
disagree
played
with that.
Jordan.
I mean,
Well, you had to.
Yeah, I mean,
Or is he put you in the job?
you weren't going to be on his team. I mean, no, you had to do
Not even just that, man. The you don't want to get yelled at every day because your pace is
it
below.
every day.
Right.
Every day. Like, dude, come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Jordan has no issues with getting in anybody's face.
None whatsoever.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he wants to win that bad. You don't see that same hunger. It's the skills off the court or the non-basketball skills that makes the difference between the two, honestly. At the end of just like you said, even if Jordan is not like showing players, okay, pivot this way.
No.
All right, and then swing. He's not doing that.
No, he's not doing that.
But his level of competitiveness forces you
It
to have
draws
to
it
come
out.
up because
It draws
he's
it
like,
out.
dude, if I'm giving this, you better be giving it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you better find a way to up this, get better
Yes.
at this, know your role, play
I
your
agree.
role. Yeah.
Yes, Michael, I'm
LeBron,
sorry.
LeBron just does not have He just doesn't have that. Number one. Number two, we're in a very
Well,
different era of
who in
basketball.
this era right now has that though?
Nobody. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
We're in a different
nobody does.
era.
So is that fair to say in this era when nobody has that, that is all? It's not LeBron's fault. That's the era that we live in. I mean, that's the era that they're playing right. There's not a dominant player that's like that right now that is going to command that.
It is because if I say it is his fault.
Oh, fault. I thought you meant there was a person in this era.
No, I'll say it's his fault because we can point to Jordan, we can point to Kobe. Kobe was another player who was like,
yes,
So if we're talking about,
but not this era though. He's not this era,
right? But if LeBron is the champion of this era, if LeBron is the top player of this era, then if that changed, because if we're honest, when Jordan came into the league, half them brothers was on drugs.
Oh right? Yeah.
So we're talking about they didn't even have the level of commitment to commit to their craft,
right?
As basketball players, and
right?
He demanded that of them. Kobe had Smush Parker on his team and demanded a level up. Right?
But don't we consider Kobe and Jordan to be in shared eras, though? I mean, just being honest, because I look at Kobe as the dying off of the breed of that era. That's the way I look at that. Kobe was bred from that era from Jordan and them. After Kobe, the era that we're in now, there's nobody like that. There's nobody like Kobe. There's nobody like Jordan.
There's that overlap. So there was an overlap between Jordan to Kobe.
Right.
Just like there's an overlap
Kobe to LeBron.
I get that, but you're still seeing a tapering off because Kobe was not Jordan. So if we're going to say going from Jordan to Kobe, and there's an overlap from Kobe to LeBron, and I'll say this just as a caveat for anybody that's listening, I am not saying that LeBron is the GOAT. I've always said that he's not the GOAT. Are they two different types of individuals in two different eras, and they've done things that each of them have not done? Of course. I still say that Jordan is the GOAT. He's the only basketball player on my wall. But I still think when the further we get away from 9/11, the more desensitized we've been because we're so far away from it. It's the same thing with Jordan, and then it goes to Kobe. This whole era that we're in right now, you know what? They're soft. There's every last single one of them are soft. Pillsbury Marshmallow Man soft.
May I point something out? May I point something out though with LeBron? All right, and this is again, we're going back to making.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead. Let me mute myself.
Oh, dude, that was classic. That was classic. What was I even gonna say?
You're about to say
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, no. What I was gonna point out though was when we talk about demanding a level up from the players around you, making them better. All right. If we really will track LeBron's GM-ness when that began to really come into play, if you'll notice, he starts experimenting with what players are good enough to where I don't have to. It's a very big difference between, okay, I see you, I see where you are, and I'm going to demand that you come up, versus I need you to bring you're already at your A game, and that's what we're going to get. So I don't have to make any other demands. I don't have to push any harder. I don't have to do anything extra. We're going to do this together because you're already a superstar, and it doesn't work.
It does. Well, no, it doesn't work. But I will say this, and it's not in defense of LeBron. He's been like that since high school, even in the McDonald's All-American game. I mean,
but that's what we're saying.
That's always been. He's always been someone to get other people involved. He's saying, I'm not tooting his horn. I'm just saying that we shouldn't be surprised by that because that's what he's done. I mean, why are we surprised by that? I mean, he was like that in high school. McDonald's All-American. I mean, they said he passes the ball better than anybody else. And I mean, that's just the way he's always been. So why are we surprised by that?
I don't know. I'm checking. Yeah, I've got a heart. He doesn't. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got heart.
Wow, Kev. That's
All right. So we're actually over time today anyway.
Kevin wait.
I'm
I have to make
sitting
sure.
going, I'm
Yeah,
like, what is
mine
he
is beating. I've
doing?
got a heart.
Wow.
He felt
Now,
around for a minute. Like,
now you
wait.
saying the bro don't have heart?
I've said
First
that.
he's a llama. Now you saying the dude doesn't have heart.
I'm
Come on,
saying
bro.
he doesn't have the heart of a he doesn't have the killer instinct, if I can say. He doesn't have that I'm going to beat you down. I'm going to
Oh no,
do whatever
no,
it
he
takes
doesn't.
How
No, he doesn't.
this
No,
is his,
I
how
agree
many
with you.
and he'd rather if until there's been several times where we've talked about in the fourth quarter he's disappeared. Not he's kind of rectified that in some respects, but
He
he
has.
still
He's gotten
is,
better at that. Yeah.
he still is more prone to give the ball away than to hold on to it when the game's on the line.
well, let's also keep one thing in mind, dude. We're talking an 18-year career.
A
I'll give
long
him that.
career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as to the level that he is playing now for 18 years,
And still playing at that level.
that is that yeah. But I wouldn't I would expect him to at this point begin to fade as far as that drive is concerned. I think when he really had the killer instinct in the drive, he didn't have any players. Those Cleveland years where he was literally carrying that team on his back all the way to these, the deep playoffs and the finals, and couldn't close because it was all LeBron. It was
Yeah.
all LeBron. And now, man, yeah, you're 18 years in. What, 80 plus games a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not playing that many a year though,
he's-
but yeah.
No, I get it. They've got a whole nother, but that's another thing. They've changed that whole structure. You're not gonna listen.
If they had load management like all the league is doing right now when Jordan was around, he wouldn't have been as bad as he was with the Wizards.
Mm-mm.
He wouldn't have been.
No.
Because you talk about somebody that went hard 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was him.
How many seasons did he play? Every game?
Yeah, dude, I don't even
It was
remember.
like 8 or 9 seasons
I
where
don't
he
even
played
remember.
every game.
There's an old clip with him and Ahmad Rashad, and I guess they were at a golf tournament or something, and he was walking by Ahmad Rashad, and Ahmad Rashad would say, "Hey, answer a question for us. If the game's on the line, who's taking the last shot?"
Yeah,
He
last
went,
shot.
Me.
Me.
He said, what?
Yeah.
What is that with me? That's a stupid question. He just walked
just
off.
walked off.
I'm like, he ain't wrong.
No.
I'm like, why would you even ask Jordan that question? Seriously? You're asking him who's taking the last shot?
They
Bro,
wanted
you
that
should already know
reaction.
that already.
Yeah.
They didn't want the answer. They wanted the
the
reaction.
All right,
Hey,
fellas,
hey,
we are
hey,
definitely
ask him this,
over
Ahmad. Go
our
ahead, ask
time
him.
today. We're gonna wrap it up, and again, shout out to the GOAT of football. Like
Oh,
him or
we didn't
not,
get a chance to talk about
we
that
didn't
at
talk
all.
about him. Maybe we'll talk about him next week or
Who?
Super Bowl week. Tom Brady, Thomas
The go to who?
Thomasina Brady.
See, he said Thomas.
Thomasina, yes, he did.
Oh, wow.
So, but here, say what you will about Brady, whether you like him or not, you gotta
You gotta give
gotta
him
give him
respect.
respect.
You
as-
have
as
to. The man's
the
got
GOAT.
7 rings.
Yeah.
When they
Ten-
played Philadelphia, he had been to 50% of the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
50%.
Of the last 20 years. Yes, sir.
Think about that, man.
So
Yes,
That's
sir.
insane.
Don't have time to really get into it today, but we
Nope.
appreciate everyone that stopped by, whether you're stopping by live or you're listening later on. But this is another episode of Chop It Up that we appreciate you stopping by for, and we will see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Free Antonio Brown.